students. Dominican Republic TESOL, or DR-TESOL, is advocating for the approval of the law of English as a second language. And today we're going to learn about an objective and scientifically valid vision for this bilingual education strategy, which involves 1,000 English teachers and is funded by the National Teacher Training Institute of the Dominican Ministry of Education. This strategy is defined as situated, holistic, and simultaneous, involving classroom observation and needs analysis. So today our panelists that we're going to welcome include Juan Valdez, who is the Director of Professional Development Systems, the Executive Director of the Education Observatory, and the President of DR-TESOL. We also have Elisa Alvarez, who is the New York State Associate Commissioner of the Office of Bilingual Education and World Languages. And then Diane Rodriguez is a professor and associate dean at the Graduate School of Education at Fordham University. And unfortunately, Diane couldn't make it here with us today, but Elisa is going to present her findings. So Juan and Elisa, I invite you to begin.
Thank you very much. I would like to start then, Elisa, if I may.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias.
Good morning, everyone, again. My name is Professor Juan Valdez. As Rachel just said, I am the Executive Director of Dominican Republic TESOL and the Director of the Situated Teacher Development Program for Dominican Public Schools. We have a movement that is called United for a Bilingual Republic in our country. This movement aspires to giving students the right to learn English in public education in our country in general terms. The reason why we are advocating for a bilingual Dominican Republic is the following. First of all, even though English has been an official subject in Dominican schools since 1961, as of today, the totality of our 2.2 million public school students are condemned to monolingualism, which has become a serious social and academic injustice in the country. Since 1961, not a single Dominican has been able to learn English in public education. This is actually, as I said now, a serious problem for most people who graduate from high school, because this does not give them a chance to even get a job once they graduate. Dominican students are supposed to take 9 years of English as a foreign language class, and that is from 4th grade to 12th grade in general. The traditional social belief is that English cannot be learned in public schools. There are no learning expectations in students who go to public education in our country. Neither students nor families expect their kids to learn English because it's never happened before. The fact is that only expensive bilingual schools educate bilingual students in the Dominican Republic. That is 1% of the student population. The Dominican economy, however, depends mostly on international tourism, foreign investment, and the service industry, which puts students who are not bilingual after graduating from high school at a serious disadvantage. All of these are reasons for us, teachers in the Dominican Republic and Dominican Republic TESOL, as their professional association, to advocate for bilingual education in public schools. For the last 8 years, as a movement and as a professional association, we've been taking action on this direction. And we've done it on a 3-level advocacy strategy. And I'll explain you now how. We've done it individually by reaching out to teachers all over the country and creating regional chapters of Dominican Republic TESOL. We've tried to keep them informed of their rights to learn and teach English in public schools, and our efforts on the same direction. We have managed to build a collegial spirit, and this collegial spirit has a slogan, which is unite and conquer. We've tried to bring all the teachers in the country together, or the English teachers, in one single cause, and that cause is building a bilingual republic. And by providing them also training and advocating for the area at the micro level. We visit the teachers and do this individually. Institutionally, what we have done is forming a strategic alliance with the National Teachers Union. In this country, there are three big major teacher unions, and English teachers were usually left aside those unions. But for the last 8 years, we have managed to ally with them, and now we are all together on the same direction. All three teachers unions now support the movement for a bilingual republic and bilingual education in our country. We have also met with the Ministry of Education in higher education, and we have offered them solutions to the issues that affect English language teaching and training. We have also talked to them about the possible solutions to problems on a school basis. We've also managed to form international alliances with TESOL affiliates to educate our membership. And every year, lots of TESOL affiliates and members come to our country to help us in training our teachers. Something we have done that it's been a really hard effort is bringing the issue to congressional hearings and achieving a resolution on it, and now a law. Since 2014, every year, we, as a professional association, hold meetings with the Congressional Commission on Education, just to try to enforce the idea that learning English in schools must be guaranteed. In terms of community efforts, our advocacy goes by exposing the issue of social and academic injustice through mass media. We have a lot of presence on mass media in this country: television, newspapers, radio programs. Also participating on local and national academic events and debating on the issue of the importance of learning English in school has been one of the strategies we've implemented. Having our annual DR-TESOL convention totally free of cost for teachers and administrators in the community has been a great advantage too. For 8 years, we have managed to put together our DR-TESOL annual convention at no cost to over 1,000 teachers who travel from all around the country to come to the convention. Partnering with parents and students and professional associations and raising their awareness and support on the importance of English is another move we have made. So this is what we have called the 3-level advocacy strategy: reaching out to people individually, institutionally, and at the community level, only to raise awareness on the importance of learning English in school and supporting English teachers. Our annual convention is one of the biggest efforts and the most impacting of all our advocacy. Hosting our annual convention with over 1,000 teachers for 8 straight years has been greatly successful, and it's actually attracted attention all over the country. Let me give you an example. This was our last convention. That was just 1 month ago. The title this year was United for a Bilingual Republic. And again, we have a new slogan now. This slogan for the association is teachers are not the problem. Teachers are the solution. Because in the third world, at least in Latin America, most of the discourse on education keeps blaming teachers for the low quality of education in the region. Our slogan is the opposite. Let me just show you a brief video of part of our convention just 1 month ago.
In all of you comments about annual convention this year, the Dominican Republic Professional Association really appreciates your having the time your personal skills to join us this year's convention, which promises to be unforgettable for everyone here. This and the Ministry of Education of the Dominican Republic for serving as sponsors for this year's event and for all the outstanding support provided to DR-TESOL to ensure this event is a huge success for all to appreciate and enjoy.
This was part of our convention this year, and we managed to bring to the convention all the local media. We had important decision makers in the country present too. We had Congress people, we had people from the Ministry of Education and Higher Education coming to our convention. And this is part of the way we have attracted attention from everybody around the country on the importance of guaranteeing the learning of English in public schools. Now, reaching out to teachers and building a collegial spirit all around the country, it's been an important effort as well. This country has 32 provinces. It's like 32 states. And then we travel all around the country, meet with the teachers, providing training, host conferences, and listen to them. Listen to what their needs are and the kind of support that they need in improving English language learning in public schools. Forming local and international strategic alliances has been part of our strategy as well. As I said earlier, we have managed to build a strong bond with local teachers' unions and, of course, with TESOL International as well. Now, we have managed to join New York State Department of Education efforts for bilingual education as well and get their support. That is why you can see people like Nikki Ashcraft from TESOL International, which was one of our first supporters. We have Dr. Ayana Cooper, Dr. Anibal from Puerto Rico. Then we have most of Dominican Republic TESOL members be exposed to this international support. And then when we meet with international presenters, teachers are more inspired and they are more motivated to continue on their efforts to improving English language learning. Dr. Laura Backer from New York State TESOL and Hunter College of the City University of New York has been one of our greatest supporters as well. She has actually joined our program in providing teachers training on many different areas of the LT. In offering solutions to our local Ministry of Education and Higher Education, we have managed to meet with the ministers, with the vice ministers, the directors, and we have actually brought solutions to those ministries in trying to improve English language teaching and learning. We are not demanding a solution, actually. We are proposing solutions to the local authorities because since they mostly lack the expertise in the field and they are not aware, we need to go to the ministries of education ourselves and present what we think is needed in order to improve English language teaching and learning as a professional association. Partnering with families and students is also crucial. We visit schools, we visit parental meetings, we provide talks, we provide conferences for students and families on the importance of learning English. And the pictures you see on the screen are basically our movement. Basically, it is a movement from students. And what they say here in Spanish is, I want to learn English in school. That's the slogan. Yo quiero aprender inglés en la escuela. This slogan has been spread all around the country because traditionally, public school students believe that learning English is impossible. That is only for the rich. And it is a mindset that we are trying to debunk by visiting them and by showing them that it's possible, inspiring them and motivating them to learn English in public schools. Advocating for the area of mass media is another key to our movement for a bilingual republic. We usually go to TV interviews, radio interviews. We usually get interviews from the newspapers, and we are making our cause public, demanding and proposing at the same time the solutions to the needs of English language teachers and the need to learn English in school in particular. So as a professional association, we have been all around the country in many different ways. We have actually put the need for English language learning on the spot and on mass media for the last 8 years. And we have managed to get people's attention. Ours is the area at this moment that gets the most attention from the Ministry of Education in terms of educational innovation. Something else we've done is bringing the issues of English language learning to congressional level. Like I said earlier, we have met with the Commission on Education for Congress for the last 8 years by expressing what we need, by presenting research, and by requesting the approval of the law of English as a second language. This law was proposed by Congresswoman Servia Iris Familia. Servia Iris Familia, which is the lady you see on the screen on the newspaper article, is the Congresswoman for the Dominican diaspora in the state of New York. She resides in New York, but she spends most of her time here. in Congress, and then we have partnered with her on the proposal for the law of English as a second language. Lucky for us, just 1 month ago, the Chamber of Deputies approved the law, and now it is expecting the approval of the Senate to make it officially a law in our country. For this matter, I would like to explain you what the law of English as a second language aspires to do. The law of English as a second language aspires to guarantee the right of all students in public schools to learn English through the implementation of a national English language learning strategy, so that English becomes the second language in the Dominican Republic officially. It also aspires to achieve the learning and teaching of the English language in the Dominican school system and establish this as a policy of public interest. The implementation of the National English Language Learning Strategy to be carried out from the 4th to the 12th grade for 9 years is another one of the articles on the law of English as a second language. This law also provides opportunities for the development of special teacher training programs addressing specific professional development needs of our teachers. And the law also requires universities to create a new major in teaching English to young learners so that in the near future, English can be taught in preschool and the first cycle of primary school. At this moment, English is only taught from 4th to 12th grade. But now universities will begin the new career on teaching English to young learners. This will make it possible for us to recruit enough teachers to teach English from preschool to primary school. In general, these are the articles of the law of English as a second language. What we are trying to do basically is to establish the right to learn English in school as a national priority. And that is why we have actually thought about a law, passing a law for this purpose. Now, all of this above is what's created what we call the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy for Dominican Public Schools. This is a strategy that the law of English as a second language is supporting in order to achieve the learning of English in public schools in our country. This program is based on the glossary of public school English programs in Latin America that's been developed for the last 20 years. What you see on your screens are basically the programs that have tried to achieve this same purpose since 2004 all over Latin America. Programs in Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama. All of these countries have tried to facilitate the learning of English in public schools for the last 20 years, but they have not succeeded. What we at the Dominican Republic have tried to do is basically learn from all these programs in what went right, what went wrong, and that's what our strategy is mostly based on previous experience from governments in the region in trying to achieve the learning of English in public education. This program is coordinated by Dominican Republic TESOL, myself, by Dr. Laura Backer from Hunter College, and Dr. Beth Clark from New York State TESOL, in alliance with the National Teacher Training Institute, Professional Training Systems, and the Dominican Ministry of Education. At this moment, the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy has the following numbers. We have at this moment 557 public schools involved in the program. Over 1,400 English teachers have joined the program and are now in training. We have 105 language teacher supervisors from the Ministry of Education involved as well. And as of today, we have around almost 300,000 students, and more are joining us every day. So these are the numbers of this strategy that is called the Situated and Continuing English Teacher Training Strategy for Public Schools. This strategy is based on what we call the cycle of continuous improvement and situated teacher training. What we do is that we developed this program on a school-by-school basis. Those 500 schools have all gone through the same process. First, what we do is a needs analysis for every school. And for every school, we establish a baseline of teachers and students' competencies and their needs. Once we have a needs analysis for each and every school, then we design an improvement plan. And we make sure that teachers get the resources as well as students, that is, the learning resources. Once the improvement plan has been designed, then we begin the implementation of the plan with pedagogical accompaniment, that is, language teacher supervision, follow-up, and monitoring. The way we do this is by sending day by day language teacher supervisors to all the schools to provide teachers with support and follow-up. And then every school year, we run an assessment of the whole system, evaluating the learning of English and the competencies developed by both teachers and students. So this cycle is repeated and is done in every school participating on the strategy. This is a nationwide program again. So in every province, that is, we have language teacher supervisors who visit schools on a day-by-day basis and run this circle and follow up on what's going on. Once they analyze the needs of schools, which can go from issues such as the fact that teachers don't get support from the school leadership, or that the subject, English as a subject, is not given the number of hours that the national curriculum actually establishes, or that teachers sometimes don't even have enough space on the school schedule to teach their classes. All those issues are addressed on a school-by-school basis. And then we keep in touch with the teachers daily through WhatsApp groups and other media, and then we follow up on it day by day. The research which sustains this approach is basically the three pieces of research carried out in the last 10 years in Latin America. My research in 2013, which was titled Why English is Not Learned in Dominican Public Schools, the research done by the British Council in 2015 on English in Latin America, the research done by the Inter-American Dialogue in 2017, which was entitled English Language Learning in Latin American Schools, plus research done by the European Union on School-Centered Professional Development Program and the National Teacher Training Institute standards for the improvement of continuing education programs in the Dominican Republic. All these pieces of research have been used for the design of the cycle of continuous improvement for English in schools in the Dominican Republic. Now, this program as a strategy has actually focused on specific actions. So we have taken actions that benefit teachers, benefit schools, and the students at the same time, based on the feedback given by teachers and the school community on a day-by-day basis. We started the program by evaluating the language and pedagogical skills of public school teachers. Teachers were given a standard placement test, which is a Pearson test of English, just to establish a baseline on their language skills and their pedagogical skills in order to develop professional development programs for them. We also evaluated the conditions of the English area in the schools participating in the program. As I said earlier, what we did was basically visiting the schools, talking to the school management, talking to the school teachers, talking to parents, and finding out exactly what was going on and why English was not learned in their schools, once again, on a school-by-school basis. Strengthening the language teacher supervision capacity of schools was another action taken by this program. With Hunter College and Dr. Laura Backer and Dr. Beth Clark, we developed a language teacher supervision program, which actually has been going on for 10 straight months, since January until this week. Assessing the English language skills of students in the schools participating in the program was another action taken by this strategy. We gave students what was called a baseline placement test, which was a diagnostic test given to the students participating in the program at the start of the school year. Implementing a 4-year program from 2021 to 2025 was another motion of this strategy. This involves the professional growth of the teaching staff and progress in student learning. Our strategy was proposed to the local Ministry of Education as a 4-year program in order to improve the conditions of schools, teachers, and students. Evaluating the progress of the program and improving the learning outcomes every year is another strategic action we have taken. Every year, students, teachers, and supervisors are given an assessment, basically a skills test to compare the baseline skills that we had on the beginning diagnostic with the progress they make every year. Providing situated continuing education courses to teachers throughout the school year is another strategic action. Once supervisors go to schools and diagnose the needs of teachers, every month we provide teachers with training, pedagogical training, and language skills development training as well. So all of this is done simultaneously, following up day by day in schools, training teachers, following up on school conditions, and following up on the policy established by this strategy is done on a day-by-day basis, in touch and with support from the Ministry of Education and the National Teacher Training Institute. One of our best programs in this strategy is the Language Teacher Supervision Program. This professional development program for Dominican Public School supervisors, once again, was developed by Dr. Laura Backer and myself. And the approach has been basically one of language teacher supervision as developmental. Traditionally, language teacher supervisors in our country would go to schools only to audit teachers. It was more what they called snoopervision than supervision. And teachers were actually under a lot of pressure because supervisors would go to schools just to verify compliance with norms that no one actually followed. So we changed the approach. We diagnosed the supervisor's needs, and then we provided a new program for them, basically on a vision of professional development, not professional compliance. So in this program, we have managed to provide the supervisors with the knowledge, the interpersonal skills, and the technical skills required to ultimately improve student learning. Here, supervisors are taught technical skills, cultural task skills, the unification of school needs and individual goals. And now they have a new approach to supervise teachers, mostly trying to support teacher development and not to just verify compliance with norms. This is one sample of our classes with Dr. Laura Backer. And supervisors take this program 4 hours a week. They have been taking it twice a week for 2 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays since January until today. What we have managed to implement in schools via this program is basically a 3-stage language teacher supervision model. This model implies a pre-observation meeting with the teachers where a reflective approach is implemented. Before visiting a teacher, supervisors host a meeting with them, a pre-observation meeting, live or virtually, and discuss through a series of questions what their class will be about. After that, the supervisor goes to school to visit the class that was discussed on the pre-observation meeting. With a class observation form like the one you see on the screen, supervisors observe teachers' classes. After that, the supervisors pay the teacher a 3rd visit on a post-observation meeting. On that meeting, supervisors discuss with teachers what was planned on the pre-observation meeting, what was actually done in their observation of class, and discuss what can be improved, what went right, what could be done better. And then this becomes a cycle of reflective teaching and language teacher supervision for development, for professional development. This is the way we have done it, and this is the way we do it in this teacher training strategy, which is situated in schools. In terms of our teachers' language proficiency level, teachers were given the Common European Framework Reference for Language Placement Test by Pearson Education. They were given the Pearson test of English. We were able to test over 1,300 teachers. And in average, we could establish that Dominican public schools teachers have a B1 level in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. So most public school teachers are independent users of the language. They are at an intermediate level. This means that they have skills such as being able to understand points regarding family, work, school, or leisure-related topics, dealing with most travel situations in areas where the language is spoken, creating simple texts and topics of personal interest, describing experiences, events, dreams, and ambitions. So, in average, the level of English that public school teachers have in the country is referred to as an intermediate independent level. That is why every week, teachers get training on language development skills. This is a language proficiency improvement program for teachers that goes on for 4 hours a week. In this program, teachers meet once a week for 4 hours to get language proficiency improvement training, just basically to practice their English and improve it. What you see on the screen is a sample of one of our language improvement classes for teachers, which is actually hosting a standing practice for conversation. This is basically one of my classes, one class I teach myself. These are high intermediate teachers who are actually taking this class once a week for 4 hours. In this exercise in particular, they were asked to stand up and do their practice standing because it's a 4-hour program. And teachers usually go to schools from 7:30 to 4 p.m. every day. So once they leave school on Fridays, for example, which is this class, they come to our training center to get language proficiency improvement classes once a week. Now, in this program, we visit schools every day. This program is called Situated Learning Strategy because we visit schools and actually support teachers by observing their classes, listening to them, and basically intervening in terms of support with the school leadership in the community. What you see here is a standard primary school classroom in a province in the Dominican Republic. Let me just show you what teachers do when we go to observe their classes.
Good afternoon, students. How are you today? Sit down.
Now, students in public schools are actually in very impoverished conditions in this country. You can see that the classrooms don't have the best infrastructure, and then teachers actually have to strive to make classes possible. In this program, we try to provide teachers all the teaching resources they need in terms of audio equipment, textbooks, and workbooks, and we visit them and visit their students in order to motivate them and keep them interested in learning English. But we visit over 500 schools every year just to do this on a day-by-day basis. Now, after 1 year of the implementation of this program, we have done what is called a SWOT analysis. We could say that the strengths of the program at this moment are basically the fact that the design of the program is based on solid scientific research. This has been carried out in the last 20 years in Latin America, and we have actually pondered on the lessons learned in local pilot programs in public schools from more than a decade of experience. The support and commitment of English language teachers nationwide is another support of the program. It's incredible how interested, how committed, how motivated English teachers are to making this real. In terms of the weaknesses of our program, one of them is the disbelief of the Dominican population in relation to bilingualism in public education. The fact that for over 60 years, not one single Dominican student has been able to learn English in public schools create a lot of disbelief and very low learning expectations. And that actually is a weakness of the program, which we combat by visiting schools and hosting meetings with parents and advertising on mass media the importance of learning English in schools and the fact that it's possible. Extreme poverty and very poor school infrastructure and connectivity is another weakness of the country. For this matter, we are now working with the Ministry of Education by providing them a report on the conditions of schools and what needs to improve in terms of technology, connectivity, and infrastructure to make English language learning more viable. Oversized classes is another issue. In average, school classroom is not meant to host more than 25 or 30 students per class, but in this country, the average is over 40 students in every classroom. So that is one of the weaknesses of the program too. In terms of the opportunities of this program, what we have is actually becoming the first bilingual country in Latin America. That is a great opportunity for this country. We actually believe that this is possible, and that is our main goal. With this program, we intend to become the first bilingual country in Latin America. And this is a great opportunity for this country and for the students in our country too. Another opportunity this program provides is increasing the employability of youth and reducing juvenile delinquency. Since learning English in school provides students an opportunity to get a job right after graduating from school, this provides a chance, this provides hope for youth in this country. And young people can easily get a job in this country if they can speak English once they graduate from high school. So this helps us in reducing delinquency in the country, juvenile delinquency in general. Raising the level of educational quality in the Dominican Republic is another great opportunity with this program, because it is well known by all of you who are teachers that learning a foreign or second language provides better education in these days. The threats to this program are actually more in terms of the government. Government corruption, in my opinion, is the #1 threat to this program. The fact that in order to do a program like this, one has to face trials and tribulations with public officials trying to bribe and impede the payment for resources in this program is a big threat. In this program, we have faced that. Ministerial and institutional inefficiency is another problem. In fact, the Ministry of Education in this country has traditionally been known for inefficiency in terms of the administrative tasks they have to perform in order to make schools better in terms of performance. Educational colonialism is another threat. In my experience for the last 20 years, that is, every time a country in Latin America makes it public that they intend to make English language learning possible in public education, this becomes attractive to many international groups who come to countries like ours in trying to provide colonial solutions to local problems. But the biggest threat to this program, in my opinion, as a professor, as a school director, as a teacher, is government corruption. Not a single country has been able to learn English in public schools in Latin America. And a lot of this has to do with governments that are corrupt, that make a serious program like this into basically just an opportunity to make money. And in our country, that has been part of the problem. We have had to face a lot of trials and tribulations with public officials trying to impede this program from becoming reality, in trying to bribe the institutions that are doing it just to get money under the table. And unfortunately, in my opinion, the problem with English language learning in Latin America in terms of public schools is not technical. It's actually ethical. But teachers here are united, and we believe that we can make it possible because where there's a will, we believe that there's always a way. In conclusion, building a collegial spirit is key to successfully empower English teachers to advocate for the right to English language learning in public education. That is a lesson we have learned. Another lesson we have learned is that strategic alliances are crucial to gain strength and support for teachers, students, and the families interested in learning English. Getting access to mass media and making a name for your cause in the news is the best way to get support from the community and respect from the authorities in any country in Latin America for this cause. Daring to go to the highest ranks and publicly demand what is needed for your students is vital in order to improve English language teaching and learning in Latin America. These, in conclusion, are the lessons we have learned in implementing this program with DR-TESOL, with the Ministry of Education, Professional Training Systems, Hunter College, and New York State TESOL. After all, students have a right. They have the right for good education. They have a right to learn English in school. And the best way to do it is basically to unite and conquer. United teachers can make a difference. That is the lesson we have learned at Dominican Republic TESOL in advocating for the right to learning English in public education. Thank you all very much for listening to my presentation, for being here today, and for supporting our movement in the Dominican Republic for a bilingual republic. Now, I am open to your questions and comments, or it can actually be done at the end of my presentation. Juliet, Rachel, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Juan. That was wonderful. And I know we're going to have a really rich discussion around so much of what you shared.